All right, good morning. It is a very chilly morning. It was 37 degrees when we woke up. Um, it's definitely turning into fall weather. It is nice and chilly. It's warming up now with the sun coming up over the hill, but it's still quite chilly. So I got some work today to do on the shed. We're going to, I think, get most of the interior drywall finishing and texture done. And then it'll be on to painting in the next couple of days. And nope, it's too cold. I gotta go get a jacket. And then we'll get to work. We'll try that again, it's much better. All right, so as I was saying, finishing up the drywall and the texture. So it's one of those things today where it's not a lot of work. It's maybe gonna take, I don't know, an hour or so maybe. And then it's just sit and let it dry, maybe for a day. And then we'll be able to come back in tomorrow if we want to, and we can start doing some priming and painting. So we're excited to get that part done. I did get a little bit done here on the gutters last night. You can kind of see up there, I was 2 pieces short from being able to finish up the gutter screen there. And then I got a little bit of a problem. Not a problem, but I just gotta get some more parts. So you can see that the downspout, where is it? Right here. It comes right down. The way I set it up is I wanted to do it just for some support right off of that very end roof rafter, and then but it lines it up so that it's coming right down with the end of the structure, which is fine, except for the fact that at the bottom we've got the pier for the foundation. So for me to be able to connect up the downspout and run that straight out downhill, I'm gonna have to take a couple of elbows, turn it over. I think I'm gonna run it underneath the shed. You can see I've got that one downspout down there already. So we're just gonna run down, we're gonna elbow over, elbow down, and then run that horizontal downspout out in so that the water sheds out in front of the shed. So I gotta go pick up a couple more pieces to be able to do that. Otherwise, all of that is now done. And again, a lot of trim work that we still have to do, particularly on these edges. So we'll do that. I don't know if that's going to be something we do right away. We got some other big projects we want to get to. And then inside here, it's it's looking good. You can see it's still kind of let me aim it up here a little bit. You can see it's still a little dark in the corner, so it hasn't fully dried, and I think that's probably to be expected with how cool it's been. I don't know. I think I have to read the label and see what it takes, but it probably takes a good full 24 hours to dry up at least. But yeah, this should be. I'm gonna have to tape off and protect the plywood here when we spray the texture. But I think we should be able to get a good jump on this here today. All right, let's get to it. So the sanding is done. I got dust all over me, but yeah, I'm definitely not a very good at doing drywall finishing, but it's getting better. Yeah, it's fine. As I went through and I saw some of the edges and some of the corners, I think it's just a little tricky. I don't know if it's my technique or I just didn't have the right tools for it or the right mix for the joint compound. But it's just not perfect corners. So that's a little frustrating, but it's not that big of a deal. I think with I think with some texture though. I think it's gonna kind of hide some of that. But for the most part, anywhere where there's just plain drywall and then joint compound, I've got pretty smooth transitions on all those, on at least on the planes of all the walls in the ceiling. So there's a few spots where I think I see the tape coming through a little bit, where I can see the edges of the tape. But I'm gonna let it go. I don't think it's worth doing a third coat and then delaying another day. We're just gonna throw some texture up and then just be content with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and now I'm gonna tape off. In fact, actually, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna probably cut the size of the vapor barrier needed for the floor, and then I'm actually gonna tape it up onto the wall, the plywood wall here. And that way I've got some protection from the spray texture, so I don't get any of that onto the plywood. And then once we're done, we'll just wipe it off or vacuum it off, and then we'll take it off the wall and put it down on the ground. But that'll protect the drywall wall. I'll do the same. I'll throw some plastic up over the window and door too, just so that we've got that. And then we'll get to spraying that. I think I have 5 cans, so we'll see if, hopefully it can be done with 4. We'll see how much of that I can get done. And then that just needs to dry, and probably by tomorrow we can throw some primer on it. All right, I was just getting ready to start with the texture. I had the can shaken up, and I went to go start spraying, and I realized how thick the layer of dust was on all the walls. So I went and grabbed a couple of wet towels. I'm gonna wipe them down, get all the dust off. I don't want there to be any adhesion issues with this texture. So you can see this is the wall I kind of wiped down already. Might be hard to tell the difference, but this is one here that I haven't, and there's just a good layer of dust on all of it. So I'm gonna wipe them down real quick, and then we'll get started with the first can of texture. I'm going to be using this. So this is an orange peel spray wall texture. It's really, I think it's mostly just used for doing patch-up work. But on the front here it says that if you do a fine coat, you can get coverage of up to 110 square feet. And I mean, each wall is less than that. So I figured if we've got, 3 main walls that we're going to do, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it on the ceiling or not, or something different, but I'm gonna try it on the ceiling, see if I can get it to adhere. We'll do orange peel everywhere. If it looks good, we got, I think 5 cans or 4 cans, so we should have enough coverage if this is accurate. We'll see how it goes. I did some practiced spray patterns on a scrap piece of drywall outside, and I think you just kind of gotta move fast and not let a lot of it get sprayed in one area, so it's not too it doesn't kind of overwhelm that area with the texture, so it's consistent across the whole space. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. We'll see how this works. So that's the first wall. Not done, but that's the first can. I got maybe a third of the ceiling done, and well over half of the wall done. You can kind of see the speckles on the video. The texture changed on me though in the middle of the can. Down here, I kind of have more of a liquidy spray, and then it definitely got to be more bubbly towards the second half, and I kept spraying or shaking the can just to make sure that it wasn't getting too thick as it was coming out. But I don't think it's going to be a big problem when it dries. It's just definitely going to be well, it might just need to be sanded. I might just do one quick sand over it, just so that the larger lumps and everything over here aren't as as different or noticeable compared to what we've got down here. But I think it went well. I think I don't have enough, which is usually, it's pretty consistent for my trips to the home improvement stores. I typically don't buy enough of what I need. So I'm gonna put the rest of the cans on. We're gonna see how far we can get this thing to stretch. And if I gotta go back and buy some more, then that's what I gotta do. Well, so I ended up buying 4 cans. That was the 4th and final can. I was really worried after the first can. I did not get 100 square feet of coverage out of it as it started coming out a little bit thicker. And then, but the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th cans all seemed to kind of do what they said as far as the coverage per the can. So I ended up being able to make some adjustments. I think it turned out pretty good. We'll have to see with some paint on it. It's a little hard to tell the contrast of the gray drywall versus the white joint compound. But here you can see kind of up close what this looks like. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out. A nice little orange peel texture on all the walls. Got it pretty consistent in the coverage, and I think with some paint on it, it's going to turn out pretty good. So now all we have to do with that is let it dry. It says you only need to let it go 30 minutes before painting. Heavier textures may require a longer dry time. So I think this is probably going to be one of those projects that's going to be good for when it rains in the next few days. So I'm gonna let this dry. It'll probably dry for 2 days before we get in here and we start painting it. But a prime coat and a coat of paint, and I think I have some flat ceiling white still that we'll be able to use for the ceiling. And then Jessica's gonna pick out whatever color she wants to do for the walls. The only other thing I have to do in here now is I'm going to get the shop vac and I'm going to vacuum up all of this dust that's on the floor everywhere and start getting the inside of here less dusty. And then once the paint's on, I think we can start moving on to doing the floor, setting the floor, which should go really fast. We're going to use a luxury vinyl tile plank that it's similar to like a laminate flooring. But it's got a built-in kind of rubber base. I don't know what you call it, underlayment, padding, waterproof. So even though this is a shed, I think it's going to be a good flooring that's going to be a little durable. You know, dirt tracked in from outside. You know, working on any of the solar equipment. So it'll be a good flooring for in here. And then the last thing that we really need to do is I'm going to do the casing in the sill for the window here, and I'll probably case the door at the same time. But I was over at the store yesterday. I was looking at some of those laminate countertops, and just kind of thought to go down the aisle and take a look at them. I never really thought about it. We were probably just going to buy a desk or build something, but they sell them in 6-foot lengths, and there was one that looked pretty nice. And so I think for maybe just a couple $100, that might be the best option for us. I'm gonna have to build a structure for that to sit on. But I think with a few brackets and just some 2x4 framing, we can have our desk, the deck for the desk, and then we can just kind of set that countertop right on top. It'd be a quick way to get that project done in just a day or so. And then what else? So we do have, I do have to saw out some of the outlets. So I have 3 receptacle boxes in the walls that I need to open up. And then I also have 2 wired for 2 light fixtures, recessed lights in the ceiling as well. So I know the locations of those. It's the middle point, just this side of each of these drywall seams. So I'm gonna get that figured out and get that opened up now. Now's the best time to do it, I think, while I got the dust. And then I'll get there's an outlet down here, and then there's 2 outlets just to the side of the window. So we'll get those all opened up, and then I can probably put together an extension cord, and we can be able to at least have power in here off the generator then, if we need to. So even before we get any of the solar hooked up. So we can get some lights in here if we need to, do some painting or something this weekend. All right, well, that's it for the texture project, and we'll keep moving on to cleanup next.